licensed and like doesn't make all the meetings. So I'm going to challenge you guys, and some of you might not like it. Like, buy your ticket, figure out a way to get here. Like, don't make excuses for why we can't be here. Like, and like, we have all this stuff going on and this and that and life and events and different things. Like, just guys, I'm telling you, like, you've got to make those events a priority to get to. And I'm not going to say what Mario always says about it. But he's like, and I'm not going to say it like to you guys. I'll tell you what he always says. He will literally tell you, like, if you're not going to carve this stuff out, if you're not going to make the big event a priority, like, that's why you'll never be big. Like, because you have to be willing to go and then bring people with you. And so, I just want to challenge you guys, like, make that a priority to get to the event. It's going to be very important for you to get there. And, I know Bree needs to be on the right Zoom link. If she's not, oh, there she is. She is in the room, Josh. She's here. But so anyway, just really, guys, I really want you all to make that a priority to get here. But so I want to go over well, actually, y'all know the recruiting. All of you guys know the recruiting questions pretty much that are doing stuff by yourself. So what do you guys need help with? Not necessarily Q&A, but what objections are you getting hit with? What problems are you running into? How can I help you guys? Specifically with recruiting right now. And then tomorrow I'm going to talk to you guys about helping your people get to a fast start. But right now, what do you need help with recruiting wise? Elian, go ahead.
So after asking the questions, like, obviously them saying, yes, that's not an issue. And I know you kind of have that more blunt mentality where you can, like, well, you just told me, like, you're good. Like, sometimes I don't feel comfortable enough to say stuff like that. But when they're saying everything is okay, the 124 license deposit is okay, then you get to the IBA part and it's just like, oh, well, I didn't know I had to pay that. So even though I said in there, like, would that be an issue today? I said, oh no, that should be fine. Would there be any reason, you couldn't get started with licensing and training, all the questions. But how do you, besides, I guess, come at them with that? Like, is there a way to kind of figure out if they're going to, like, if they're lying or not? You know what I mean? So, like, I'm not wasting my time when I get all the way to the end. I'm like, oh, I don't have it right now. I can't do it.
Yeah. So affirm, isolate, answer, close, right? So hey, I don't have the money. Okay, awesome. Not a problem. I definitely understand that. And I would ask them, I would say, assuming I ask the recruiting questions, right? So if you don't ask the recruiting questions, you can't ask this question, but I would say, hey, Ellie, you definitely understand that. Aside from the 124, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to get started right away? Hey, definitely understand the 124 being a concern. Aside from the money, is there any reason you wouldn't want to get started right away? And if they say no, okay, great. Well, remember before I asked if the 124 was going to be an issue for you today, and you said it wasn't. So what changed? I'm just trying and I'm not going to be a dick about it, but I would literally tell them, like, look, I'm just trying to understand because you told me it wasn't going to be an issue. So what happened in the last 30 minutes? If you're asking the question, and Taylor just said people aren't asking the questions, I would guess that if you're getting hit with that, you might not be in direct with that, because I don't really get that I mean, sometimes I do, but very, very rarely. And then every time I tell them, like, hey, you just said that wasn't going to be an issue. So, like, what happened? They're like, oh, well, like, I didn't know I was going to have to pay today. I was like, yeah, that's why I said today. So, like, aside from that, is there any issues? Like, oh, you want to pay it tomorrow? Perfect. Like, aside from that, is there any issues? No. Okay, great. Well, then we'll get you plugged into everything. We'll set you up with the routing and account number, the banking info, get you set up for direct deposit. Is that fair? That's a lot of times they're just kicking they're trying to see how prepared you are, really. Like, maybe that's not what they're actually doing, like, themselves. But in my opinion, like, the objections that you get aren't that they don't want to do it. They just want to see if you know your stuff. All right. They want to do it, but they're trying to see, like, hey, can I trust this guy or girl? Right? Can I trust this person to help me? Roxana, what you got?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can. We got you.
Okay. yesterday when I was on the orientation, you were showing the fast track with the first 30 days, the recruits up your commission percentage. And
Yeah.
I've sent Jay like a ton of people and they just kept bailing out, which is, the business. But now I think I'm out of that 30-day window. So it's my commission from the 30-day fast track that's locked in. But doesn't it get harder now to go up in commission after the 30 days?
Are you licensed?
Not yet.
So no, your fast start bonus lasts 30 days or until you're licensed. So if it takes you a little bit longer to get licensed, you have a little bit longer. Yeah, up to 90.
Okay, cool. Because I had people interested and I was like, dang it, I think I'm out of my window.
Yeah, I would just challenge you to listen to the appointment setting audio in the Teachable, the Ian Pruckner one, and master that and make sure you're training with Josh or Bree or whoever's your direct trainer. Just make sure you're working with them on the script, because if you follow the script and you set appointments with the script, you won't get ghosted that much. Like, you won't have a lot of people that are like not responsive to you. Now, you'll still get some, but not very many. If everything that you're doing is social media, cold market, you don't know them, you're going to get ghosted a lot more. It is what it is. Like yesterday I personally recruited 2 people and recruited 1 person for somebody else. And I got ghosted on 2 appointments. I didn't close 2 of them and I closed 3. So a lot of times you never know, you guys see me closing every couple of days, but you don't see me getting hung up on, getting just people. But I don't care. I don't let it bother me because I have so many damn appointments. It doesn't matter. I have 10 appointments today, between 11 and 5. I'll close something today, just because I have so much going on. And if you guys, that's part of this whole 90-day run that some of you guys are doing, is it takes you time to get there. The reason, and I'll just break this down for you guys, the reason that this 90-day run, I'm starting closing right away, is because I have momentum. I have residual momentum from the last 90 days. Does that make sense? I built up so much momentum that I couldn't get, I tried actively to not really do much the last 8 days, and I could not get away from activity. I closed 7,000 or 8,000 in premium. I've still recruited a couple people, and I wasn't even sending messages at all, Caleb. They were just coming to me. But that happens because the first 90 days I busted my butt, and for the first 30 days I didn't do a whole lot. There wasn't much to show for it. But so it takes time to do that. And you guys, I'm telling you, if you think you can do a 90-day run, if you think you can do a 90-day run, a 90-day walk in the park, you can't. You have to hit the things, the daily minimums. It's not suggested numbers that you should try to hit. It's those numbers. Every time I hit those numbers every day, it works. It works every time. Why? It's just a sheer volume of people. That's all it is. And the better you are as a leader, the better the results you're going to get, right? And so I'm a little bit off your question, Roxana, so hopefully I answered it. But you guys got to understand that if you're trying to do this 90-day run and you're really trying to get to where you want to go in 90 days, I would challenge you guys and say, if you're not hitting your daily minimums, you're not doing a 90-day run. You're thinking about doing a 90-day run, and you're testing out the waters. You're doing the warm-up run of the 5K. You're the people that run before the run. Why do you do that? That sounds terrible. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go run 4 miles before I run a 5K. I'm just going to go run the 5K. And that's literally with my 90-day run. When I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to start and I'm going to go do it. I'm not going to drag my feet and test the waters for a month and see if my half effort is going to get me the results that I want it to, because I can tell you it's not, right? So you guys, you need to be making sure you're hitting those minimums, and it comes back to this. It's going to be work, right? It's work. Every business has work. When I had my gym, there was stuff that I didn't want to do that I had to do, right? Just because you own the business and you're building your business doesn't mean that it's not work. Does that make sense, guys? Any questions specifically around recruiting, guys? How can I help you with recruiting today? Not all at once.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I'm following the questions and everything. I think that I'm missing in where we go over how much, they pay for licensing and stuff. where do you talk about the 124? Because I kind of put it in somewhere, but I don't know exactly where I'm supposed to put it in.
So to be completely honest with you, it depends on the person for me.
Okay.
Okay, so if I'm meeting with somebody and they're married, they have kids, they own their house, they have jobs, like they're good market, I'm gonna go on a scale of 1 to 10. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how helpful would 1,000 be? Could you start today? Is there anybody you need to talk to? And then the referral partner, part-time, full-time question, right? Then I'm going to give the little presentation. I'm going to show a couple examples. I'm going to explain cash value versus term. I'm going to explain the rule of 72 just real quick. It takes 7 minutes, nothing crazy, but I'm going to go through that. Then I'm going to say, awesome. So Angie, do you see value in what we do? Yes. Okay, great. With that life insurance policy I just showed you, you'd make about $500 part-time. So what we need to do next is we have to get you into licensing. We do require a background check. It's $124. You're going to get that money back after you're done. Would that be an issue for you today? And they're like, no. If they're married, they're working, or one spouse is working, usually it's the money's not an issue if you're in a good market. I don't really get that objection really at all. Because I'm working in better markets now because I've spent the last 2 years getting my butt kicked in a not great market. And so I've learned how to get out of that. And I think a lot of times too, guys, we're afraid to get into good markets because generally those people carry themselves better. They're perceived to be more successful than us. And so we stop ourselves from believing that we can recruit them when you really can. Like, you're not recruiting them. Remember, you're not recruiting them necessarily to Primerica. You're recruiting them to you and where you're going and where the team is going, right? And so if you're like, hey, I'm going to do this thing, we're building this, like our team's on $1 million run. Like if you're all these different things, right? If you sell out to the coaching, to what we're doing, and you say, we're building a big business inside of that, and we're excited, and we should be a part of that. Like people buy into the vision. People follow leaders with vision. Like,
Or they just don't believe in themselves.
yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter like where you're going, as long as you can portray that you're going somewhere, right? And you have a clear vision on that. So hopefully that helps, Angie, but it depends. And also if I'm meeting with somebody and they're not in market, like if they're not married, they don't have kids, they're not making good money, like I'll ask the money question before I give the presentation. Oh yeah, it's an issue. Great, let's reschedule it. And most of the time, I shouldn't say most of the time, probably half the time they don't reschedule. All right, what other questions do you guys have around recruiting?
Where can I find I don't know how to word it. It's gonna sound dumb. So it's not like at work I can just like tell everyone, hey, I work a second job. You guys should look into this, or they're gonna be like, red flag. So I'm not really sure where to start. Like, do I just start at the grocery store? Like, hi, lady buying beef jerky. I'd like to tell you about something.
Yeah, you can. So it's the whole like 6 months ago, one of the leaders from California, he said, spend $1, get a number. So anytime I go out somewhere and I go patronize a business, I get a number while I'm there. At least do my best to get a number while I'm there. So like if I'm at a restaurant and the waitress or waiter does a good job, I get their number, right? And I don't really care if I recruit them, if they're a client, if nothing happens, but if I'm going to spend money somewhere, I'm going to get a number to continue to grow my business, right? The other thing is, you don't got to be the person that they all get recruited to, right? Like whoever's behind you watching this call right now might be interested. Like I keep seeing them looking over your shoulder. Like, but I would literally like, I would encourage you to talk to them and just say, hey, you know, I'm working with a financial services company. The guy that's training me is looking for other people. Like, I would love to plug you into it. I think you'd be good at it. So that way you're not the one recruiting them while you're working at a job with them, right? You're recruiting them to Josh or to Bree or to Caleb or whoever it is that's training you. They still go on your team, but you're not the one that like, you don't have to be like, hey, come work in my business when you don't have, like you're working with them full time somewhere else. You can sell out to that third party training system that Shane Redmond talks about that. There's a really good audio about that, but like, that's another thing too. Like even guys, if you're licensed, and you're like, man, I got somebody I want to talk to, but I'm afraid to talk to him. Cool. Sell out your trainer. Hey, you got to meet my friend. You know, you got to meet my friend, like Angie. You got to meet my friend Kelly. Like, she's awesome. Like, I really I want you to see what she's doing. It's going to be amazing. And I really want you to learn it. And because in that process, you take the pressure off of yourself having to give a perfect presentation, and you introduce them to somebody else, right? Who they don't know. And there's instant credibility between the two of you because, hey, this is my friend, just like your training appointments. And then, hey, friend, this is you know, my coach or someone that's taught me a lot about money and finances. I'm super excited for you guys. And then you be quiet and let them run. And here's the thing, guys. If you're a field trainer and you're not willing to do that for your people, you're not a field trainer. I'll just say it, right? Just because someone can close business doesn't mean they don't need your help every once in a while. What's up, Josh?
So I just wanted to add to that. So Roxana, a good thing that I did in the beginning when I came back, that helped me talk to more people in that workspace area. Like I wasn't trying let's talk about the mindset of it, right? Like we're not trying to convince them to really even sit down with us. I'm really doing temperature checks to see where their interest is at, even if I know that they'd be a good person for what we do. A lot of times I'd be like, yeah, you know, I just started working at this firm part-time where we, you know, and this is just in casual conversation, right? You know, I'd be like, hey, yeah, I just started working at this firm part-time. You know, we service middle to low income families. We help the middle class folk, Main Street families. You know, we do financial game plans for 100% free. And, you know, I'm seeing 4 to 5 families a month, nothing too crazy. You know, just seeing four to 5 families a month part-time. It's really awesome. We help a lot of people, you know, and then if they're like, oh, and they pique some interest, be like, yeah, I'd love to sit down with you sometime, you know, to 15, 20 minutes. If you have some free time, just show you what we're doing. Because it's really helpful to the community and really helpful to people, especially in our town as well, you know, because we don't have the same access in rural areas as they do in big cities like, you know, Lansing or Detroit or places like that. And that's kind of how I word that, so that way, you know, you're just casually telling them about what you do, and you're telling them about the good that we do for people as well. And you can kind of get a temperature check with where they're at.
That's good. Got time for one more question, guys. What do you got? You guys are really quiet. I'm gonna call the police, make sure you're all okay. Got like a hostage situation going on here. No one's talking. What's up, Amber?
What about, I have a few people who work for like a different insurance company. Like, for example, I was talking to an old high school friend who works for Rathbun Insurance as an accountant, and she's not at all interested in seeing what we're doing because she works for an insurance company. But what are some things that I could maybe say to see if they'd be interested in just switching, because looking at what we're doing, because obviously we're better than the other insurance companies.
Yeah, so number one, convince people, right? So if you're like, I don't know, maybe it's not better, like, because like you're like, I don't want to sit with them. But actually, a really good example of this yesterday, Amber, in my life, was the conversation that happened with Taylor at Mattress Firm with this dude. Like you guys, it was the craziest thing. I'm literally on the phone with Taylor, and she's I don't even know how they started talking about life insurance. Like I answered a call in the middle. Did he? Oh, I answered. I was on the phone with Taylor. They're looking at mattresses. I answered a different call and put Taylor on hold. And I came back and I just hear Index Universal Life Insurance. I'm like, ew, what is happening? And she told me that he had a life insurance policy, an IUL. What were you gonna say?
First of all, the reason why I even said anything in the first place is because this guy was very straightforward to me. I was returning our mattress because it's a Purple mattress, and Purple manufacturer gives you a year with it. And I was inquiring about returning it to get a different mattress. Well, we're past the specific days that Mattress Firm allows you, not Purple. We have not had it a year. We've only had it like 2 or 3 months, but apparently there's only like, I don't know, 100 days that you're allowed with Mattress Firm. So if you ever get like a big brand mattress, go to the manufacturer because they have a longer time. Anyways, he says, well, if you're not going to buy a mattress that allows me to make money off of it, then I'm not going to be able to push that return. Like there's no incentive for me to be able to like work that return out. And I was like, oh, you are a very straightforward salesperson. And I really appreciate that. I understand that that probably may have been really hard to say to somebody, but I appreciated that. And then I said that we look for a lot of that in our firm. He was like, what do you do? And then I told him and he was like, oh, I just signed up my IUL 2 months ago. And I was like,
and that's what I came back on the phone. I was like, you gross. And I heard him, he's like, what? I was like, oh yeah, but hold on. Like, and so he started telling me about it. So anyway, I'll just be super quick. So we met with this, like I came home, got dressed, cooked food real quick and went straight to Mattress Firm, recruited him. And we'll do his life insurance policy in a couple of days. But guys, like Amber, in that scenario, right? Like he's like, oh, it's with World Financial Group. And I was like, I'll crush that. I know I can beat that. Like, give me 5 minutes. He's like, yeah, come up. And I did, and then we found out he was working on his licensing already and everything. So like, it's just the conviction of what they're doing. And at the end of the day, like she's an accountant for a life insurance company, it's a little different, but
Right.
still, it's like, I mean, I have 7 or 8 people that I'm talking with right now that are already licensed, that work and make money at other companies, and I'm talking with them about coming over and working with us just because, like, if you listen to Ian Pruckner's 7 months to RVP audio, he talks about how, and I'll be done after this, so we'll be done in a minute, but he talks about how he started getting a lot of referrals and people that were coming to him after a certain period of time because he started winning and people started seeing that he was winning. And then at a certain period, Jerica, they're like, he's like, people started coming to me because they're watching me do it. And they're like, hey, he actually might make this work. Like, I should go see what this is all about. Right. So many of you guys are like, you want the results of the recruiting and the premium and the production that we have, like on my personal production, but you didn't get to be a part of the 9 years where I was getting my butt kicked at the gym and learning all the lessons I had to learn. So when I walked into Primerica, I had the skill sets that I needed. That all I had to do was go win for a couple months and people started coming to me. Right. I just had to go prove that I could do it in a different industry. And so like, I would really challenge you guys and say like, hey, if maybe for some people it's not going as fast as you wanted to, but you're also 3 weeks into a journey that should take you the rest of your life to get to where you want to be. So like, don't expect to get to the top of a mountain if you've never walked like on a path before, like you've never hiked before. Don't expect to climb Mount Everest on day one. Like just start moving, just move forward every day and get better, and don't do everything you can not to go backwards. And Amber, I know that wasn't necessarily your question, but my point to that is like, I guess 2 things. One, be somebody that they want to follow. And that's probably not going to happen overnight.
Right.
Right. And the other thing is, so be somebody that you want to follow, and then you need to be so sold out on what we do that people listen to you. Right. And again, I'm not saying that you're not, but like those are kind of the 2 metrics. And the craziest part is, and I said I'll leave you with that, but I'll actually leave you with this. Like a year ago, we moved here and we started going to a church here in Florida or in Tampa called Radiant. And like I told Taylor when we started listening to it, I was like, we're gonna get in, and it's a big church. It's like a mega church, I guess you could say. And I was like, we're gonna get in a room with the main pastor, and we're gonna build that relationship, and we're gonna be able to do like the financial workshops, like it's gonna be from our business. And literally, like almost exactly a year later, like we have dinner with him next week, just as like a kind of a meet and greet thing. And like that might not seem like a big deal, and it's not all for business, but you have to understand, like I am intentionally putting myself in the room of people that are bigger players because that's where I'm trying to go. And if maybe nothing comes of that, maybe it does. But my point to what I'm saying with you guys is like, stay the course and don't expect a shortcut to being successful. Like you have to work, you have to put the effort in. It doesn't just happen. Like it's not just one day you wake up and you're like, oh, yep, I made it. I got my ring. I'm an RVP. I have 97 RVPs. Like, no, it takes time and a process. Bree, what's up?
This isn't on this. I was just wondering if you had a couple of minutes free time after this, I could call you real quick.
Yeah, you're gonna have to race Ellie, and whoever calls me first, I'll answer, and then I'll call the second person back. Ellie literally calls me. Literally, I before I end the Zoom call, most of the time, Ellian's like calling me already. But whoever calls me first, I'll answer, and then I'll call you back after that. But yeah, that's fine. All right, guys.